often people are able to optimize their weight, and of course the more important thing is optimize health. Hello my friends, if you're new here, my name is Rachel and I'm sharing my journey to healing from years of severe chronic illness through animal-based nutrition and through nervous system regulation. And I was diagnosed with all sorts of chronic illnesses: Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, dysautonomia, celiac disease, gastroparesis, chronic Lyme disease, Chiari malformation, intracranial hypertension, craniocervical instability. The list kind of goes on. And when I was at my sickest, I was essentially bedbound and seriously underweight. And actually in this video, I'm going to be sharing about my journey to gaining weight through animal-based eating and the carnivore diet. Before I started carnivore, I was doing a lot of research on the carnivore diet, and so many people talk about weight loss in the carnivore community, and that was exactly what I was trying to avoid. I was seriously underweight, struggling to eat at all, and on the verge of needing a feeding tube. And so when I heard people talking about weight loss, it made me really nervous because I couldn't afford to lose any more weight. And I ended up finding a few people that were able to gain weight doing the carnivore diet that really helped encourage me to give it a try. So since I have started the carnivore diet, I have gained 40 pounds of healthy weight, and it took a while. It wasn't something that happened overnight, but when eating an animal-based diet or a carnivore diet, often people are able to optimize their weight, and of course the more important thing is optimize health. And so if somebody needs to gain weight, then often they're able to do it, and if somebody needs to lose weight, then often they're able to do that as well. And so really my biggest strategy when I started the carnivore diet, trying to gain weight, was just to eat as much as I possibly could. I didn't do any sort of fasting. I wasn't in a state where I felt like that was even safe for me to do. I had a condition called gastroparesis, so basically it was really hard for me to eat. Anything I ate, I felt super full even after a couple bites, and I really just struggled to eat. So in the beginning, I really tried to like spread out my eating just so that it would make it a little bit easier for me to eat. And overall, I just tried to eat high calorie red meat, focusing on foods that were high in fat, and actually didn't have much dairy at all in the beginning of my carnivore diet. And after a few months, I went onto the Lion diet and was able to gain most of the weight that I gained while doing the strict Lion diet. I started to gain some weight after, I would say, about 2 to 3 months of doing carnivore. During the first month, I lost a couple of pounds, but was able to gain that back pretty quickly, and then I was able to gain weight from my baseline after that point. I would say at about 4 to 5 months I had gained 10 pounds, and then by the 6 to 8 month mark I had gained about 20 pounds, and then by a year I had gained about 35 pounds, and then 14 months into the carnivore diet, I had gained 40 pounds. And I'm still at a very healthy weight and happy with where I am. I'm gaining muscle, I'm able to strengthen my body and exercise again, and things overall are going really, really well. Something else that I wanted to mention when it comes to weight gain that I think is really, really important is nervous system regulation. So often when we're really sick and chronically ill, we get stuck in this chronic fight or flight state. And when in that chronic fight or flight state, it's really difficult for our body to digest food properly, to take in nutrients properly. So for me, regulating my nervous system and bringing my body out of that chronic fight or flight state to a state where healing can take place, it has been just as beneficial or more than changing my diet. And so I think if some people are struggling to gain weight on a carnivore diet or any sort of diet, then nervous system regulation can be really huge. Some of the things that I've been doing are brain retraining. I've done a program called DNRS. I talk about this a lot on my other channel, Rachel Elizabeth, and I also talk about it a lot on Instagram, just at RibEyeRach. So if you want to learn more about that, then I recommend following along there. But basically, when we signal safety to the brain consistently, then our body is able to go into this mode of rest and digest. And if you're somebody that needs to gain weight, then going into this rest and digest mode, your body will start to feel safe, and then it'll start to digest the food that you're eating properly, and you'll be able to get the nutrients that you need and ultimately gain weight if that's what you need to do. I think that's a really important part that's often left out in the carnivore or GAPS diet community. That's how I was able to gain weight, really just through strategically trying to eat as much as I possibly could. And often in the beginning, I felt like I was force feeding myself. It was really difficult, but every time I was eating, I kind of just told myself, okay, I'm doing this for my health, I'm doing this to heal, and just having that mindset really helped a lot. And obviously I was able to gain the weight that I needed to gain to be healthy. Another thing that some people find beneficial when trying to gain weight is if you tolerate dairy, to try to have dairy, especially raw dairy if possible. Raw dairy is a superfood and is very, very nourishing, and something like raw cream or raw butter will be really high in fats, and so if you're able to up your animal fats as much as possible, then that can be really helpful for gaining weight if needed. That's all the tips that I've got for you today. I hope that it was helpful. If you're in a really difficult place right now, just know that I feel for you and I'm rooting for you, and that healing is definitely possible. I'll put a picture here showing what I used to look like versus what I look like now. Just keep in mind that healing takes time. We don't heal from years worth of damage to our bodies overnight. Healing is hard work. It takes time, but it's absolutely possible, and just having that healing mindset can make all the difference. So anyways, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and follow along on Instagram, and I will look forward to seeing you in another video very soon.